All right, well, don't let that little bit of distance and a certain ocean fool you. Even though we're more than 3,000 miles away from Europe, we're still helping to pay for that new bailout in Europe. You heard me right. We spend a whole lot of U.S. tax dollars, billions of them, to the International Monetary Fund. Then the IMF goes ahead and gives billions to rescue Europe and a whole host of other folks. Republican Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rodgers is pushing a bill right now to stop that from happening. How do you do that, Congresswoman?
Well, as Americans continue to see their taxpayer dollars, precious taxpayer dollars being used to bail out these European Union countries, I hope that they will start putting the pressure on Congress to take action. You see in this last deal in Europe, if it's a $1.4 trillion deal, it's estimated that the IMF will be on the hook for about a third of it, and we're funding 16-17% of the IMF. We're talking $150 billion of American taxpayer dollars again.
You know, the argument for this sort of thing, Congresswoman, is that it's a small price to pay for global financial stability. The alternative would be investors worldwide losing trillions in capital, and it would be even much, much worse. What do you say?
Well, the question is, where does it end? If we're talking $330 billion to Greece, that is the size of their entire economy. And then Italy's not that far behind them, and Spain, and actually America is not that far behind where the European Union is. We don't have the money. We're borrowing 40 cents now on every dollar that we're spending here in America. We're broke. These are tough economic times, and it requires all of us to be making those tough decisions to cut the spending, cut federal government expenditures, both here in America.
But you guys aren't doing it. No offense to you, but I mean, I hear about what this super committee is doing or not doing. They're kicking the can. They can't even agree on whether it should be, a paper currency or a coin for the dollar bill, and that's one way they might come up with some savings. I mean, these are mamby-pamby things that, if you can't agree on shaving $1 trillion in growth over the next 10 years, that's hardly encouraging.
Well, it is critical that we put the pressure on right here in America to make the tough decisions, as well as the European Union.
Yeah, we got pressure up the yin-yang, though, and no one's doing anything.
Yeah, we just continue to borrow and spend, and that's the problem. That's the problem here. That's the problem in the European Union, and we're ignoring. We're just kicking the can down the road.
Right.
And the markets might be reacting positively today, but then they're going to see the fine print. We've seen this before, and then it's not quite as pretty of a picture.
Well, you're right. That is the normal procedure here with these markets. But let me ask you a little bit about, when you talk about making the tough decisions, Congresswoman, if down the road we're looking at another financial problem like we had in 2008, would you vote to keep Bank of America, open for business if it looked like it was going down the tank?
Yeah, I really struggle with these too big to fail policies.
So you wouldn't? You would not?
That is, I would say we need to be sending a message that they need to be making the tough decisions right now. It is getting to be too much, and who's going to bail out America?
No, I understand that, but let's say they were caught up in this selling contagion and their stock was imploding, business was imploding, they needed a rescue, much like we had all these banks needing rescues, allegedly, back in 2008. Would you say no to all of them?
Well, we need to look at it. I don't want to make a knee-jerk response, but I would. What I would say
you can't be a little bit pregnant with this, right? It's either you're going to do it or you don't.
Well, what I would say to the banks is that they made decisions. The reason I didn't vote for the bank bailout in 2008 is because they had made decisions that had caught up with them.
Okay.
They were out there, they were overextended, and it caught up with them. And in our individual lives, in small businesses, we all have to make those tough decisions at times. And the banks right now are making money off the federal government's debt. At some point, I think we just need to make sure that we need some accountability, some transparency as to what's really going on, and hold those banks accountable too for the decisions they're making.
Congresswoman, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Atlanta not cooling down. Occupy